Today we have Garrett. Chin, right? Ching?
Garrett Ching.
Ching. Okay.
You know my name. I don't know why my mom named me that name. It doesn't have much of a flow.
Yeah.
It's like going to a stop sign. You have to wait 3 seconds.
That's your real name is Garrett.
Garrett.
Not like Whack where he has like a different.
No.
Okay.
Garrett.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's cool. Were you born here too or no?
Yep. I was born in Pasadena.
Your mom was born here or no?
My mom was an immigrant. She came here in 76.
Wow.
With my grandparents. And she pretty much raised my brother and I by herself.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And it's crazy that, what's your brother's name? Anthony, right?
Anthony.
You guys got white names.
I guess. I mean, but his name has more flow than my name. It's Anthony Ching.
Yeah.
My name is Garrett. Pause. Ching.
So it's easy to fuck the last name up.
Yeah, because
right?
I normally I don't pronounce my name as fast as I should. I always say Garrett Ching, so I don't pronounce a T. So people think my name is Garrett. Gareth
is
Gary,
an easy one, yeah.
You know,
G-Dog.
Yeah, G Dog. I get that sometimes. You know.
So we know Garrett from Calico Fishing. He's Bobby's teammate. What is really interesting to me is everyone knows that I was a big surf fisherman. That's what I did for the last 10 years ago when I started, you know. You could move that up. Yeah, go ahead. There you go. Is it dropping on you?
Yeah.
I already know what I'll do. Watch.
That's good. All right.
There we go. All right. I think we're ready. Fucking headphones. So the thing that Garrett, I didn't know about him. Bobby told me, we were talking about surf fishing, and you were a big surf fisherman before you're a Calico guy, kind of, right?
Yeah, I actually, ultimately, when I first got into fishing, my first time on a fishing boat, first time fishing was actually on a fishing boat. Okay. That's what hooked me.
Like a party boat. Right?
Party boat, yeah. Okay. My buddy invited me out on a 3/4 day. You know, we used to work together at a park, and I remember catching a sand bass, a calico bass, and a barracuda. From that day on, I was instantly hooked.
How old were you then?
18. I think I was just barely getting out of high school, starting college.
And that was 2090. How old are you?
2001.
So you're what, 30?
I'm 30, turning 36 in next week.
I thought you were like 40. You're so, you're so, well put together.
So Asian?
Yeah.
I got the Asian genes.
Yeah, you're so proper, my man. So 2001, you got hard into fishing.
Right.
And then the boat thing, after that, was it surf fishing for you?
Ultimately, I like I said, I wanted to fish on the sport boats. That was my passion.
Yes. But
as a starving college student, I couldn't afford to be on sport boats all the time. So I had to look at other avenues of fishing. You know, I would fish on the surf. I'll fish on the pier, fish in my local lakes just to kind of get my Jones out. Mm-hmm. You know, and throughout the times I would still fish on sport boats, but over time I got better at fishing on sport boats, and I would, win some jackpots, end up being friends with these captains and deckhands, and eventually, became a deadhead on a couple of these sport boats.
What was your boat that you fished all the time?
I fished a lot on the Southern Cal and Freedom.
Okay.
And that's down south. I was more of a Long Beach guy back then.
Oh, were you? Okay.
But I would pretty often go up to Redondo sport fishing, fish out of Spitfire, because they ran out to the islands all the time. That's how I met Bobby.
That's what I say. That's what Bobby said. He always fished a Spitfire.
Yeah, that's how I met
Bobby.
know
the captain from the Spitfire too?
Yeah, Craig and Jeff back then. Fishy dudes, great captains. So I couldn't afford fishing on sport boats. Mm-hmm. So I would fish on the surf. That's how I get my Jones out in the morning. I'll go out the surf like a few hours a day, and fish anywhere. I fish Santa Monica, Malibu, all the way down to Long Beach, San Diego even. Yeah. Depending on what I'm trying to go for.
So did you just pick that up? You're like, fucking, I'm going to try it. Were you going for perch in the beginning, or did you kind of like...
I just picked it up. I was plan? Like, I see people catching barred surf perch and some Corbina. I was like, let me try that. Then I realized you can catch halibut on the surf.
That changed the game, right?
Whoa, I didn't realize you can do that. And and you know, when I first started halibut fishing, I had no idea what bait to use, you know, and I would just throw crocodiles, swim baits, crocodiles, you know, the norm back then, and until I would fish a little more, and I would run into this guy named Sinjin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if you guys heard of him, but I think he's the guy that kind of put the Flash Minnow Lucky Craft 110 on the map.
Which is a
fishing.
cool story. That's kind of like, I'm excited to hear this part because when I started, Lucky Craft just kind of came. It was probably 2007 or 8. Lucky Craft kind of was getting pretty popular, where dudes were a couple years prior were using crocodiles and painting them, and the dudes that I looked at was Fishing Network, so it was Wingnut, John Kim.
Yep.
He painted all the luck. They gave him his own perch color. It was SP Dan. He's another guy, and I didn't know him, but I'd run into him because I'd always be fishing the same beaches they were. But so when you met that dude Sinjin, did he kind of give you a heads up, like on, hey, this is how we kind of fish for halibut, or did he like?
Well, I mean, this was before Wingnut and John Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Before, I think this was like 2004. I think.
Wow.
That's when we were fishing on the surf a lot. Back then, there weren't too many guys fishing the surf. It was consistently 4 or 5 guys that I've seen day in, day out.
Wow.
So we had the whole beach to ourselves.
I bet you're catching a lot of halibut.
Oh, we we caught our fair share.
Yeah.
More than we should have kept, you know.
What were you using then? I mean, because there wasn't really specialized gear for light tackle surf fishing at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what were you using?
I was using a Rogue Rods. Sinjin introduced me to Rogue Rods. They were a Washington company.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the cousin of Gary Loomis.
Oh, wow.
I think it's Bobby Loomis.
Wow.
So he made some really nice surf rods. Matter of fact, they were actually a fly fishing company.
Okay.
Fly rod company, and very high modulus, very sensitive. I ended up picking up a couple of those rods, and we did really well on the surf with them. So to this day, I still fish some of the Rogue rods.
Really?
They're no longer available around, but they make some quality stuff. If you can find a couple of these Rogue rods, you know, high modulus stuff, really good.
So did you started fishing the Lucky Craft when Sinjin showed it to you?
Right. So I was fishing mainly crocodiles. I was fishing scroungers on fluke. I mean, I always fished the fluke.
In the surf?
Yeah.
Scrounger
head.
Really?
Yep.
I've never heard anyone doing that.
A light, quarter ounce, because you want to keep that thing off the sand.
Yeah.
You got it like very, very slow, slow wind. I fished a scrounger. I fished a lot of big hammers. I would even fish live bait. I'll make my own bait. Bring a live well. I bring a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
And put a little
drop shot
aerator in there. No, we just fish on a little hook.
Really?
A size 4 mosquito hook, size 6 mosquito hook.
Huh?
If you can get them, but you have to let the halibut eat the bait because they like to play with the bait.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that's so much work. I want to be able to cover ground. I can't cover ground with a bucket.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I look like a bucket brigade, you know, walking down the sand. So I would fish on the same beach, and I run into Sinjin, and instantly he was like, "Oh yeah, if you next time you come out, just give me a call." You know, he was really cool, very cordial, and we ended up becoming good friends. And he was like, you should try this bait. It's called Lucky Craft Flash Minnow 110. I was like, man, never heard of this thing. Looks like a Rapala.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how much is this thing? Oh, it's like $25. I was like, $25.
Fuck, dude, right?
$25. This was back then in 2004. You know, 20. That's a lot of money. I was a college student. I was like,
yeah,
damn, I can't afford this.
Mm-hmm.
This is some expensive shit. So, I ended up picking a couple, and I fished it with him, and instantly, within like the second, third cast, I hooked up to a 24-inch. I was like, okay, I need to get some of these things.
Did he help design that surf?
I don't know. I don't think so.
But he was the first on board,
Yep.
to kind of start using it.
Yep. That's according to me. I think so. Before that, you really never heard of Lucky Craft, and back then it was only 2-3 shops that carried them. It was Fishing 25. It was like at a shop in Koreatown.
Okay.
A couple of shops. I want to say.
And they were carrying the surf edition Lucky Crafts.
There wasn't a surf edition.
So this was just
It
a Lucky
called
Craft 110.
Lucky Craft 110 salt. Not even a saltwater. Just
No,
called.
it was just
It was a red label package.
Yes.
like a fresh.
Those are the
water.
ones they tell you not to buy. Do you remember when the saltwater version came out?
Oh, that was years. That was years after.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So he kind of just said, "Hey, this has got to work for halibut," and no one was probably even when I started, dudes would be like, "You throw a fucking jerkbait for halibut?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." And I mean, I'm sure guys didn't even think of that then either, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, man. So did you start buying a shitload of them after that and just...
Man, they got so expensive. I mean, we tried... excuse me. We tried all kinds of things to kind of preserve the bait. You know, we would paint it ourselves, make red gill marks on them. You know, we would get bit so much that it becomes clear.
Yeah.
You know, so we would get a fresh bait. We're like, you know, how do we preserve this? Because we can't find these. You know, you lose them, that's it. You maybe have 2 or 3. You can't find them. You know, until the next batch, the next shipment comes in, which can be months down the road.
And this was no Amazon, none of this shit.
No. That stuff, you can't find that stuff online.
Yeah.
You know, everything was at a store.
Yeah.
You got to know where to go. It's like finding an axe blade like 4 years back.
Well,
it's impossible to get.
Now you can find them everywhere. Savon has them everywhere.
Right. So it was one of the download baits.
Yeah. The download baits, right?
Yeah. So we were playing with epoxies. You know, we were using 5-minute epoxies, which, by the way, don't use the 5-minute epoxies. They turn yellow after a while. I wasted a few baits doing that.
Yeah.
And so we end up, I believe that brand was like Envirotex.
I heard of that, yeah.
Envirotex Light and Deviron or something like that.
Yeah.
There are 2 different brands that work for us. We played with all kinds of stuff, change our hooks and split rings and put snap swivels and things like that. And eventually we dialed it in to a point where, you know what, this color, this location is going to work. Certain spots, they like certain colors.
Yeah.
So
you did your math on the whole halibut thing. You that was your shit for a minute. Like,
yeah. I would still fish on the sport boats a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, you had it kind of down where, and you also said your favorite bait's a fluke.
Yeah.
Drop shotting a fluke over a Lucky Craft.
I would personally, if I had 2 rods to fish, it's always a Lucky Craft 110 and a fluke on the surf, a drop shot.
Wow.
And
just a Zoom fluke, the white ones.
Zoom fluke, Bass Assassin.
Okay.
If you can find those things are killer.
Yeah.
And I would fish them in saltwater, like fish for bass and stuff on a little tiny lead head.
Yeah.
Over the kelp, you know, at the break wall, I would get them. You know, get a lot of fish on them. That's how I got the name Miyagi Flukester. You know.
Oh, because all you would use is a fluke all the time.
I would like to use it. I love using a fluke. I'm like Jimmy Decker, you know, love using that fluke. But, you know, this was before gulp.
Yeah. Did you, what size line were you using then on the Lucky Craft?
Lucky Craft, I didn't want to lose fish, so I was tying straight braid.
So that's what I did too. I was using 50 straight.
I was using about...
you used a spinning rod
30,
though, right?
No, casting.
Oh, really?
I was using Daiwa Advantage, and some Shimano's, but I think the Daiwa casts better. Back then, the Daiwa, you really have to service those Daiwas because the bearings will go out and fishing on the salt.
Yes.
But they cast better. Than the Shimano's.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, when I started, it was all Calcuttas. Everyone was using the Calcutta, like the 150s and the 200s. Yeah. And that's what I had when I surf fished. I used actually the Abus first, the C 4600s, and I love those because you could take them apart and clean them easy.
Right.
And they're like $100.
You know what? I like fishing round reels, but not for the surf because I need to get the distance. And I noticed that the low profile reels, they cast better because of the weight of the spool is lighter.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I would fish freshwater, low profile gear over like a round bait cast.
Were you looking at structure then too when you were surf fishing? Did you get into that where you're looking at, you know, the way the water is, the eddies, like stuff like that?
Absolutely, you have to. Long Beach back then, they did a lot of bulldozing for some reason. I'm not sure if it's like that right now, but they're constantly bulldozing.
This is off of 72nd Street?
All the way from Cherry all the way to 72nd, like that whole entire stretch.
Even when I did, they'd always move that there too. Yeah,
they're always shuffling sand around.
Yeah.
So I think because of that, the whole entire the beach changes pretty often. So you almost have to go there. I go there during low tide, and I would spot certain, like I realize, okay, there's a trough here. this is going to create a Yeti here. So I would kind of pick out certain spots and situate myself and position myself. Like I line up the house and this little trash can and kind of figure out where to cast next time I come out during high tide.
Yeah. So you're just taking notes.
Yep.
Did you learn that by yourself, or did St. kind of told you?
I kind of figured that out.
Really?
Because I noticed that you would only catch halibuts over a certain trough, certain layout on the beach.
Yeah.
And you put one and one together. I would talk to him as well. We would kind of make our plan before we go out fishing. I mean, it's surf fishing, but everyone thinks, oh, you just go out and have fun. But we're pretty tactical about fishing for halibut.
Yeah.
And it became fun. Like we would get them. And back then we would see legal halibuts jump out the water.
Dude, not
every morning.
I mean,
you may not catch all those legal halibuts, but it's not unheard of to catch 2-3 legals in a day.
Are you keeping them?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I kept my first one. I didn't keep my second one. I did. I think it was 28.
That's a good fish.
Yeah.
Anything over 25
it was
is a
on
great
Father's
fish.
Day, dude. And I remember I've said this story before. You met Roxanne. So I come home. I'm fucking banging on the door. She runs up like something's wrong. I've been waiting for this fucking fish forever. I fucking got it. I'm screaming. Had to YouTube shit. I didn't know how to fillet a fucking halibut, which I think is the easiest fish to fillet out of all of them.
It is.
Because I feel like you could just follow that bone, and easier than rockfish. I fucking hate filleting rockfish, but I mean, just catching that legal, like working so hard, so long. But then I changed when I surf fished. I went to Calico because I found a beach that I love, and it was boilers, kind of like PV.
Yeah.
And I figured out, wow, you catch fucking Calico here. Then I started spending, dude. I probably spent thousands of dollars in Lucky Crafts because you lose them on the boilers. Like you have to pay to play, dude.
Yeah.
And did you fish a lot of boiler beaches ever or no?
I fished at Malaga Cove a lot.
Okay.
You ever where Malaga is?
Yeah.
Back then, no one really fished there.
Were you catching calicos from this? Oh man, that must have been great.
I was using I remember that color that worked really well up there was a Nishiki color. It's pretty much like a clown color.
Yeah.
Not clown. It's like a chartreuse back with a little bit of red head.
Okay.
That color worked really well.
How big of calicos were you getting out of there?
3-4s,
That's
nothing
nice.
huge,
So
but it was
fun.
good calico fishing.
Yeah.
And consistent. I hooked up to a black sea bass I lost a Lucky Craft on.
Did you get white sea bass ever?
No, not out there.
Really? Have you gotten one from the surf?
I think it's a Corvina.
Okay.
Not
Down San Diego? Or up here, did you get a Corvina?
No, it was at 22nd Street.
Really?
There's a lot of Corvinas there.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You just gave it away. Did you ever catch a striper?
No.
That was one I always wanted to catch, and I never did.
I didn't know they were available in the surf until later on. Every once in a while, you hear a guy catching a striper off the surf. I'm like, wow, that's a random catch,
Yeah.
And when I was surf fishing, this guy caught a random salmon.
I heard that. I heard that out of the Santa Ana River. This is a long time ago. I heard out of the Santa Ana River because did you fish down there?
It was 72nd.
Was it?
I know that was.
Well, the drain from then too, right?
I don't know. It's weird.
Did you see it?
I didn't see it, but I
just heard.
Yeah, I heard that some guy caught a salmon. I was like, what the heck?
Which is, it makes sense, right? Yeah. They run somehow. It could have came down, or who knows?
Right.
But the striper thing was like, man, I wanted to get one of those, and I lost a big white sea bass before.
On the surf?
Yeah.
Those things are hard to stop on the surf.
Dude, I had the thing, my reel fucked up, and then my drag was shitty. And I was on the C5600, I think. And it was just pulling, and I got it right to here, and then it broke.
Hooking up a fish on a surf is not hard. It's landing the fish. That's the hardest part.
Especially if you're with boilers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I put a video up a while ago, and I would stand on top of them. But, dude, I lost so many fish to rocks. And there's nothing you could do. I mean, you're going to get pulled right into those fucking rocks.
You really have to time it. You have to really watch the surf and watch the next surge come up. You have to time the surge. Mm-hmm. That you don't pull too hard initially, or else you're going to end up playing with that fish in 6 inches of water, and that's not.
Then you're going to pop it off and watch it leave.
Yeah. So I lost a lot of halibut fishing on jetties like that.
Yeah.
That's how I learned. Like, hey, you cannot horse in a fish, even though you're fishing straight spectra.
Yes.
You cannot horse in a fish.
Yeah.
You gotta let the fish do its own thing, time it right, get ready. You gotta don't blink. You just gotta bounce it on.
Yeah. Did you get into Fishing Network? Was it around then or no?
Back then, I was on Fishing Network. There were only 3, maybe 4 main websites up that were fishing related. It was Bloody Decks. They were always, big game stuff. They weren't really surf fishing. For surf fishing, not much surf fishing information on there.
Yeah.
There was Fishing Network, All Coast, and Hookup Sport Fishing.
Okay.
They eventually tanked after a few years. I think there was some drama. They tanked, but Fishing Network and Hookup Sport Fishing were the 2 main sites for surf fishing. And then SC Sport Fishing came on.
I followed that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was like I want to say 2006, 5 or 6.
Wow. Yeah.
Maybe 4. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm very blurry with my years.
Yeah, because that's when I remember when I started. That was the first thing, Fishing Network. I found out about it 2009. So I mean, it was a couple of years later, but that was there was so much shit you could find out in there. Looking back on, how you could find out. Oh, what is he using? Like catching a perch, big perch. They kind of gave you cool rigs. It was a cool site, but so you knew the guys when they started that. You knew who they were. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you fish with them?
Oh, a lot of guys. A
Really?
lot of those guys, yeah.
Yeah.
We did videos and stuff that I've never seen. They filmed videos and
That's all the saltwater SWAT guys, right?
I actually never. I don't know who was a part of that SWAT team, the 57 team, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They were fairly new. I just kind of did my own thing. By the time they became popular, I kind of faded away from surf fishing. I fished a lot of sport boats and got into kayak fishing.
Oh, you did kayak for a long time too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Would you launch out of Cabrillo all the time?
Everywhere.
Really?
Everywhere.
Wow.
It's a natural progression. I wanted to be out at sea, so I wanted to be a little further out each time. So I would get a kayak, and that's and Joe and I, Joe Shagner and I, we would get
that was your old partner, right?
Yeah, old fishing partner, tournament partner.
Yeah.
We actually met him because of Sinjin.
Did he surf fish too, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was one of the original guys that surf fished.
Really? Joe was?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So he's doing the same thing you were at the same time?
Thing. Yeah, we progressed the same time.
Wow, that's cool, man.
He never fished the salt before. This fishing on the surf was as salty as it gets as it got for him.
Yeah.
I brought him onto fishing sport boats and how to catch calicos and stuff like that. So we ended up fishing tournaments together.
Kayak? Did you do kayak?
No, we didn't do too many kayak tournaments. We did just mainly like bass fishing tournaments.
Oh yeah.
After we got our own boat.
Yeah.
And after we got a kayak, we fished it a few years. We're like, you know what?
Did you guys ever did you yard sale ever?
Yard sale?
That's not what it's called when you flip the kayak and all your shit goes all over the beach.
Man, I got a story for you. He and I, we didn't flip our kayak, but we were fishing down La Jolla, and
so you were, no joke, like you went out.
Oh, we went out.
Fuck that.
We went out. We were going for yellowtail and sea bass, and we didn't get any that day. But man, on the way back, the current was going the opposite direction. It was blowing us back. It was howling like 50 miles an hour.
And you were doing with the paddle.
This was before Hobie became popular.
Yeah.
And we were paddling. We couldn't. I noticed that every time we stopped paddling, we would drift back like 20 yards. I'm like, we were never gonna get anywhere. And I was on my Cobra Marauder. Joe was in his Malibu something, and his brother had a fish and dive or something wide. His brother, we were paddling. We were like, we can't stop, Joe. You got to keep up. We're never gonna get back to the surf at this rate. We're gonna keep getting blown out. So we're paddling after a while, like, where the fuck is Mike? That's Joe's brother.
Yeah.
Where the hell is he? We couldn't find him. We got to the surf. We're like, where the hell is Mike? For a second, we're like panicking. Joe was crying.
I would be too.
He was like tearing. I was like, what the fuck? Where's my brother? I was getting scared. I was like, okay, first thing we do, we got to run to a lifeguard.
Yeah.
Let him know that, hey, we had a guy with us and we can no longer see him.
Yeah.
So they end up sending the helicopter out doing a search, and after 15 minutes, Mike comes out like north of us. He was dragging the kayak and a paddle. We're like, Mike, what the fuck, dude? Where the fuck were you?
Yeah.
And he was distraught. He was like, I almost died.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what happened? He rolled into the surf like north of us. He tumbled. And he was wearing waders.
Oh my!
He was stuck underneath the water.
How did you get him off?
I don't know how. He somehow got back on the beach. But yeah, it was a yard sale. He lost a couple of my setups. You know, I don't care. I was more than happy.
Yeah,
donating that to the.
Were you wearing a life vest then?
Oh yeah, I wore life vest.
Okay,
I always wear it.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not a great swimmer.
Yeah,
but I'll definitely wear my life vest.
Especially, when you run in your boat, do you wear it now?
I wear it when I'm fishing on the beach.
Okay.
And I always tell Bobby, like, yeah, we're going to get sketched right now, so let's put on the life vest.
You would think Bobby would have it on all the time, fucking idiot.
He does.
Nah, I'm just...
He became... he was a different man after he flipped the boat.
You knew him then.
Oh, before he flipped the boat, we would get stupid. You know, we would fish in, like, inches of water.
Oh,
and you know, Joe... Bobby and I would get so stupid. It's more like a bragging rights. Like who can get shallower? We're stupid back then.
That dude.
And you know we get ourselves caught a few times, and you know we survived, and we don't learn our lesson.
Did you ever break a trolling motor?
No,
never.
No, I'm not Evan Salve.
You'll run it right up that fucking thing, dude.
Yeah.
No, I've had a couple scares probably in the last recently, like in the last 6 months, where I'm like, okay, I'm way too fucking close. Fucking ride that shit right up the wave and over. And I'm like, okay, I should have learned my lesson. Listen to all these guys fucking flipping boats and shit, you know. And you just
gotta keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what you're getting yourself into, you know.
Yeah. So when you and Joe, after the kayak thing, you got into Calico Tournament fishing, was that then?
Okay, so we went kayak fishing, and you know we're like, you know, let's go further out. We fished Dana Point and all the boiler rocks over there. I want to go further out. I'm tired of paddling, so we end up getting our first boat together. We got a Parker 18 footer center console.
Okay,
and this was like 2009. Was it 2010?
Okay,
maybe 11. And then a couple months. It was Bastravaganza. Savon Tackle used to run a show called Bastravaganza.
Yeah,
and we were at the show, and I ran into Bobby Martinez, and he was like, "Hey Garrett, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's up? You know, like what's new?"
You knew Bobby already from the boat?
I knew Bobby from fishing on the Spitfire.
Okay,
that's a story I can tell you later. I don't think he even knows this story.
Bobby doesn't know this story?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Shoot it out.
Okay. Well, this is how I met Bobby. It was a Western Outdoor News fishing charter, 3/4 day fishing on the Spitfire. And the reason why I remember this day so well is because I caught my first yellowtail.
Wow.
I was like you. I was skunked with the yellow that I couldn't catch one. And the only place you can catch one was at the island back then. It was during the La Nina years. It was cold water current. There's nothing on the beach. There's no yellows on the beach. So the only chance you get was really going out to the island. Mm-hmm. And Spitfire ran to the island pretty often. So we fished on the Spitfire, and I caught my first yellow, stoked, got on the Western Outdoor newspaper. You know, I was like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself with a burger. So I had a burger in the midship on the boat, and I remember looking up the line, looking up to the bow, and I see this Mexican dude with a long rod, wearing Lokes and Dickies shirt. This gangster looking dude. I was like, damn, this guy can really cast a jig. Yeah. I'm kind of intimidated. Should I go up and ask him? Yeah. I was holding my burger like a noob, you know, like just walking up. Hey, buddy, you know, like no. So I walked up to. I end up, you know, getting some. I end up walking up to him, and I was like, hey, man, do you mind? I'm Garrett, by the way. Do you mind telling me what kind of gear you're using? Because I noticed you're casting your jig really far. And after like a few seconds, I noticed that, man, this guy's very approachable. Nice guy.
You wouldn't think so, huh? By the looks.
He was wearing his Dickies shirt. His name was. He was wearing it's like a blue button up shirt. Marina Del Rey Anglers, a big calico in the back, and his name embroidered on his shirt, like super pro.
Big Dick Bobby.
Yeah. I was like, damn, it's very intimidating. You know, I'm a noob.
Yeah.
So I walked up to him and I was like, hey, do you mind telling me what kind of gear you're using? Because I really would like to cast as far as you can.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no problem. I'm fishing this rod. I forgot what rod it was. It was a 9-foot rod at least.
Yes.
And he's like, and this Shimano Trinidad 16. I was like, damn, that looks money. I'm gonna save some money when I can to get one of these reels.
Yeah.
You know, later on. And from that point on, he we would run into each other fishing on Spitfire. And it wasn't until years later we run into each other again.
And this was at Save On?
No, that was actually on a different trip.
Okay.
It was on the Freedom. We ran out to the Cortez Bank.
Okay.
He caught a 50-pound yellow 3 days ago.
Fuck.
Big freaking yellow.
Yeah.
It was biting back then at the banks. Those yellows are biting during that time.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's during fall. So we went on the trip, and on the trip that we went on, Stu Suenega, you know this guy?
I don't.
Fishy dude. He ended up catching a 50-pound yellow. It's the biggest freaking yellow I've seen hit the deck.
Yeah.
So after the trip, Bobby, we were driving back home. We're all happy, having a couple beers, and I was like, "Hey, Bobby, you remember me, man? I fished with you on Spitfire years back." He's like, "Yeah, I remember you." He's like, he was telling me like, "Oh yeah, I'm selling all my saltwater gear." I'm like, "What's going on? You just caught all the fish while you're selling the gear." He's like, "I'm getting to green bass fishing. So you ever heard of like swim bait fishing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do like Echo Park and stuff like that." He's like, "What? You go to Echo Park?" I'm like, "Yeah, I live a couple miles from there."
Yeah.
He's like, "I fish there all the time." I'm like, "Where do you live?" He's like, "I live in Glassell Park." I'm like, "Oh shit, you're not far from me." Okay. So, he's like, he's going to sell all his gear. I'm like, man, I wish I can buy all the gear. And fast forward a couple more years, that was Bass Travaganza, Save on Tackle.
Okay.
That's when we were, Joe and we just got our boat a couple months back. And he was like, yeah, there's a tournament. He's like, I remember asking him, I was like, hey, what is this SWBA thing?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it. And he's like, oh yeah, these guys compete against bass, for calicos and sand bass. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love catching calicos, but I've never done it on my own boat.
Yeah.
He's like, well, if there's one tournament to do, this is a tournament. It's called the Calico Offshore Challenge, the COC. And I'm like, let me walk up to EB and James, and we end up talking to them, and 2 months, about a day or two later, we ended up signing up. Joe and I signed up. So it was because of Bobby.
Yeah.
That's how I got into tournament fishing.
Wow, dude, that's fucking a great story.
Yeah. Sorry, I went off tangent everywhere.
No, that's what we do here. I mean, that's not the point of the podcast is to just shoot the shit, Sure, take another one, yeah. You know me, dude. Just can't hook my fucking leg with an axe blade again. So you took that boat, you guys had the center console to Catalina?
We went to Clemente. That was my first time fishing Clemente.
How was it, a new boat or an older boat?
It's an older boat.
4-stroke or 2-stroke?
4-stroke.
Wow.
I never owned the 2-stroke. I was doing a lot of research. I noticed that a lot of 2-strokes had issues.
Yeah.
So I told myself, like, you know what, 4-stroke seems like they were more reliable, and it is. I mean, I had a 115 Yamaha. I ran that thing all day, every day, and we'd go to Clemente and back, and it'll barely burn 35, 40 gallons of gas.
Wow.
Like on all day fishing the surf. And after a while, we were like, you know what, this boat is it's too slow.
Really?
It just really, our top speed was going like 34. We would load the boat up,
bro. I go 30 in my little aluminum.
Not when you're fishing saltwater, tournaments with all these guys with fast boats,
Yeah.
I mean, back then, like, no one really had fast boats like as fast as now. Back then,
like your new boat.
Yeah, kind of.
That's kind of how fast have you gone on your boat?
It's not a fast boat. It's I think it tops out at 50.
That's fast.
But it's a heavy boat. I didn't get that boat for speed. I got that boat to punch through chop. Yeah.
And it does that, huh?
Yep. I like it a lot.
It's pretty smooth, huh? We were talking about boats. I've been on Benny's. Benny has the same boat as you?
Yep, same boat.
The only thing I didn't like is the seats in the back. You get fucking soaked.
It depends.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Those fold-up seats that you sit. My whole ass was wet. I think maybe it just was the day. I don't know. But I mean, it was an amazing boat. Like it fit 4 guys no problem.
Right. It fishes really well.
Yeah.
It fishes really well. Well, I mean, if you're coming back with wind blowing from north to south, I mean, you're gonna get wet no matter what. Especially you're running back from the island, crossing that channel, Catalina Channel, you're gonna get wet. If it blows anything like 12, 15 knots, you're gonna get wet. No matter if you're on a 27-footer, 30-footer, you're still gonna get wet.
Yeah.
You know, that wind's gonna blow spray in your face, especially in the back because you're catching the spray from the front.
Yeah.
So it's a nice boat. I like it so far.
Yeah. What did you have before that?
A Ranger Bahia 220.
That was the 20 foot or 22 foot?
22. 21 and a half.
Why didn't you like that one?
I love that boat. I still think that boat's a great boat.
How long did you have that for?
5 years.
How much hours did it have on it?
A little over 1,000.
Wow.
I'm one of those guys that I turn off my motor whenever possible to keep the hours down. It's better for resale, and it's unnecessary to run the motor when you're fishing the kelp.
Yeah.
Unless you're fishing on the beach.
Yeah.
I'll keep that motor on at all times.
Right? You learned that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had Joe, bucked off the bow a few times.
Did you?
Bobby was out there at the backside of Catalina with Kenny, and he was like, I thought I was going to have to rescue you guys.
Fuck, dude. You guys got in there deep, huh?
Yeah.
So you went from the center console to the Bahia or no?
Center console to Bahia, because we were tired on the center console. There wasn't any
the Parker,
storage.
correct?
Parker.
Okay.
There's no storage room.
Yeah.
I like to take my gear on the boat.
Yeah.
I like to take everything. I keep it very simple. I bring everything.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to have to fuss. I only have this bait. I only have one of these baits. Like when they're biting on this, I need to have all those baits.
Yes.
So I bring everything on the boat, and on the center console, you don't have any hatches. You can't store anything. I love whalers. I love Bobby's boat, but there's no storage.
Yeah, that's one.
We'd have to store everything in a cooler.
Yeah.
On the Parker, same thing. So that's why I was, I'm gonna look into bay boats. They have a lot of hatches, and they have a nice deck. We can actually fish spotted bay bass on it, and fish even lakes. So it was a good trade off.
Did you get the anglers?
Yes, they took care of me really well. Yeah, I like those guys.
Yeah. That's a nice boat to jump to. From that to was Joe like fuck.
Yeah, it was, what? It's a very good deal for a new boat, having a brand new 150 motor in the back. I still think to this day, bang for the buck. The Ranger Bahia 220 is a great boat. They don't call it 220 anymore. They call it Ranger Bay 2200 or something like that.
That's what Reyes has.
No.
What does Reyes have? 25?
He has a 2360, which is a different level. The Ranger Bay 220. They call it 220.
Okay.
It's a different hull. I believe there's a champion hull.
Okay.
Ranger ended up buying the champion hull, and they made it into Ranger.
Okay.
It's a great hull.
Yeah.
Light,
all you'll have,
fast,
huh?
efficient.
Well, you're like a salesperson for Ranger. So when you first started fishing the Calico tournaments, how did that go?
We were really green. I knew how to catch calicos. I was good at catching calicos on a sport boat. When captains put you on fish, where to cast, current, the way the boat's shifting, things like that.
Were you into lures at the time too?
I was, but not in the way Calico tournament anglers are.
Yes.
Then I realized, okay, I need to step up my game. Our first tournament at COC, Joe and I, we thought we were badass rolling in with 5 sledgehammers, 3 6.5-inch big hammers. We thought we were ready for a 2-day tournament. Lo and behold, we're like, dude, within minutes, we're like, I'm running low on baits.
Fuck.
I had irons and stuff like that. We were running low on baits. We didn't know what to expect, and we really had to learn quick, adapt quick.
Yeah.
To fishing tournaments.
Yeah. How did you guys do that first tournament? Did
Not
you place?
Well.
No.
No way. We were giving high fives because we were fishing next to Piros Viejos. We didn't know who they were back then.
Yeah.
And those guys won a tournament that day.
Wow.
And those guys saw Joe and I. We were high fiving each other, jumping up and down, because Joe net. I hooked up one fish, and it was a good 3.5 pounder. Brought it into the boat, and it was like a group of fish, just attacking that one bait. Joe got the net, scooped up 3 fish at a time. Fuck. We're high fiving, and they thought we got the tournament, but we ended up only weighing 17 pounds. They weighed 25. at the
not
same
bad though. I mean, for your first
same
tournament,
spot.
right?
I mean, I thought we were okay, but
I don't think that's bad.
it's we
Hey,
knew that.
My
Hey,
first tournament, I beat you. But I had a ringer. I'm just fucking with you.
no, you did great, man. You did great.
I took all Bobby's secrets. I think that's good though. I mean, you guys didn't know anyone like where people were giving you advice. You kind of were going on your own instinct. And
Instinct, yeah.
17 pounds is fucking great.
Was
To me, I mean-
Clemente. It was our first time fishing Clemente on our own boat. We just
Yeah.
got to pick the spot.
Fucking why not?
Yeah, we ended up calling that spot Nick Cage, and I'm not sure. It was a big old rock, and we just call it Nick Cage Rock because it was like the Rock movie. So to this
Nicolas
day, we call it Nick Cage.
Oh, that's fucking funny. And then you fished with. How long did you fish with Joe for?
For a few years, on and off. He stopped fishing because he was trying to study for an exam to become a customs broker. So that's when Bobby and I, Bobby didn't have a partner then, and his partner was kind of on and off. So we're like, you know what, you guys, Bobby, you want to fish? We will always fish together anyway, pre-fishing, fun fishing, whatever. It's a very natural progression. And Joe was studying for the brokerage exam, so I was like, hey, Bob, you want to fish together? It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So 2017, we fished together first year. Ended up getting AOY.
Dude.
It was like, okay.
That's good.
It was a nice, like, fun fluke, like.
Yeah. The next year you did good too, right?
The following year, yeah, we're getting Anglers of the Year again
See?
on different SPS, Saltwater Bass Series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, to this day, I think Eric Ben told us that SWBA history, we were the first three-peat.
Really?
Yeah, first back-to-back tournaments.
Wow, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're pretty happy. I'm very stoked to be able to experience
And
that.
do you still freshwater fish at all?
Not as often as I should. I freshwater fish a lot before when I was doing a lot of surf fishing.
Yeah.
My heart's always been saltwater. I don't know what it is that drives me out to saltwater. I mean, I think freshwater guys, I love what they do. Very, very technical. I learned a lot of stuff from freshwater guys. So I should definitely be doing that more.
I feel like for us that live in SoCal, I can go to the surf or I can go to fish Calico and I can catch a lot of fish pretty quickly compared to if I go to a lake. Maybe I'll catch 5, If I know what I'm really doing, depending on the day, like you got to be really good sometimes to get in there and do it. Where I feel like you got to be good at Calico, but you have that luck to catch all these dinks too. Like I'm just a numbers guy. I'd rather catch more fish than big. I just like having fun.
I'm like you.
Yeah.
For me, I what's more important to me is that I pattern the fish. I like to pattern fish. Even right now, when I'm fishing, I don't always go for the big fish. I always try to figure out what they're on. And I would always throw everything else other than whatever my partner's throwing. I would throw everything else in my tackle box.
Even if they're getting bit.
Even if they're getting bit, just to kind of prove a point. I like to
So you're
pattern
stubborn.
the fish. Not stubborn,
I'm just
but
fucking with you.
I would like to just prove a point. Like fish different baits. So make sure they only want that. And once I know that they want that, it's game on.
Yeah.
And tournament fishing wise, it's always, I guess I'm always on tournament mode.
Even when you're fun fishing.
Yeah, I need to get off of that, and go for I do want to start trophy fishing. I don't have a lot of big fish under my belt, but I do want to catch my first double-digit calico or sand bass.
What do you think you got to do that though? Like what's the plan to get a double-digit?
Fish a bigger bait,
You got to.
or get lucky, But
that's like, how do you aim for that? I mean, do you just got to always be fishing something big?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
you maximize your chance. You're gonna have a trade-off. You want to catch something big. You got to fish something big. Yeah. I mean, elephants do eat peanuts, but you have to put yourself in that situation where you want that one bite and not a lot of fish.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's just hard to do for me. It's like I got 3 kids. the wife, building the fucking shit for her. And so it's like when I go out, I'm like, I'd love to focus on that, but I love catching fish too. So it's kind of a give and take sometimes where I'm like,
it's whatever makes you happy, right?
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's a toss up because there's times where I'm like, fuck, I need to learn how to, like crankbait. I hate throwing crankbaits. I know they get bit.
I love crankbait fishing.
I love jerk baits. I love jerk shad. I love plastics. I don't like throwing a crankbait. I feel it's fucking boring to me, like, but is it going to get bit and get a big fish? Probably. So I'm trying to make myself go out, throw the crankbait more. Jeff Leifson told me, Bobby, you guys tell me, oh, fucking bounce it off the rocks. You just keep fuck. So I'm trying to make myself do stuff like that too. When I go out, I go, okay, leave this here. Fucking don't take anything else. Like when I first went with Charles Belnavis, swim bait fishing. He's like, 2 rods, jerkbait rod, swim bait rod. That's it. I'm like, fuck. All right, that's what I did. So I mean, you gotta, like you said, you gotta like throw the big bait. You have to throw something big. That's your goal this year?
That's what I want to do. That's why, I'm focusing. I was talking to you about tuna fishing. It's about time to catch a big tuna.
Yeah.
Bobby and I, we've been so focused
and you want it off your boat probably too, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's different from catching a big fish on a sport boat. It's you want to catch it on your own boat. It just feels more gratifying,
No, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's like you're pulling it on your shit. Like you did everything yourself.
Right.
It's like when you make a lure, or I make A-rigs. When I catch something big on an A-rig, I'm like, fuck yeah, I made this whole thing.
That's the joy about fishing.
Yeah.
It's catching on your own gear.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yep.
Well, fucking thanks for coming on, dude, and hanging out. Let's shoot your sponsors because you're wearing them all right now.
Oh shit! All right.
Give some who you're sponsored by.
Owner Hooks.
Okay.
Can't say enough about them. Name speaks for themselves.
Yeah.
Best hooks. Daiwa.
Mm-hmm.
They have some new gear coming out. They're gonna review some new gear in July. Stay tuned.
I heard it's really good too.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Game changer.
Yep. Demiki Tackle. As you guys know, axe blades and vaults. If you guys haven't heard of them, definitely go to your local tackle shop and pick
There's
some up.
one more he's not talking about too. You guys will hear about.
Nick. Trailer Valley. Those guys been the number one supporter for Bobby and I since day one.
And the podcast, they helped with the 50th episode, and someone got a really cool
trailer jack.
Yeah.
They make trailer jacks and trailer movers. If you have a trailer, boat trailer, RV trailer, whatever kind of trailer in a tight spot, their product really helps you move it efficiently.
Yeah.
Lateral Vision. They have some really cool swag. They just came out with some fresh prints. So check them out on lateralvisionbrand.com.
Yeah.
Who else? Mercury Marine. I have a V8 300 Verado in the back, and that thing really pushes the boat well and efficiently. So
yeah.
Anglers Marine, those guys, they'll set you up if you want to buy a boat, sell a boat.
Yeah.
And Jordan at the service team, they're award winning. They're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks again for coming on and hanging out and talking surf a little bit. I'm sure we'll do another one. We did one previously, but we were kind of intoxicated and it didn't work out. It was you could hear it. You could hear it. It was the one with Bobby. I think Cody, T. Everyone was. I was at the PCS show, but we had fun.
Oh, we were hanging out all day.
Yeah. So thanks again for coming on, Garrett. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.